It's a penultimate issue of ManEaters. This is issue number 11. Actually, it's kind of the final issue, too. Sort of. But here we go. Hey there, everybody. It's Perch. This is ManEaters number 11. And yes, that is a tampon in the shape of the Image logo, which I'm sure is definitely how Image likes their brand represented. ManEaters is a very odd book to review, and it's very tempting to come in here and do the faux outrage. This is awful. Look, can you believe this? The cringe review. But I'm gonna try and do this review straight. I mean, it's a comic book. Some people put some time into it. Image published it. This has been a strange ride for Chelsea Cain and ManEaters. So quick little bit of backstory before we get into the actual comic review. Chelsea Cain, of course, worked at Marvel, did the Mockingbird series, and you may remember her from the writer who decided to troll the internet by having Mockingbird in a Ask Me About My Feminist Agenda t-shirt. The image that launched a lot of attention, I guess. It got her what she wanted. It definitely trolled the audience. People got angry about it. And then for some reason, Chelsea Cain didn't understand the anger, and then she deleted her Twitter. Then she came back because she wanted to fight the patriarchy, and then she was going to do a Vision book, but then the Vision book got canceled after she'd written some issues, and then she was mad at Marvel, and she burned all of her bridges at Marvel with a very kind of scathing interview about how crappy Marvel is. And then she went over to Image, and she was going to do it right this time, and there was a bunch of posts, pictures taken about meeting in the Image facility and how Image didn't know what they were in for. And then she did ManEaters, which has been an odd comic, and I'll explain why in a moment. And now it's ending. And then there was kind of now some talk about how the comic industry in general sucks. So for whatever reason, the bad taste Marvel left in her kind of moved over to Image. I don't know if it's Image's problem or the fans or just comics in general, but there you go. So this comic has this has been an odd comic, because if you picked it up and just expected a comic, there's been a couple issues where it's kind of satirical instruction manual. You have comic issue. I mean, they're all comics, but I guess a better way to put it is you have graphic story, and then you have like a break in the story, and they do kind of a satirical look at the world of ManEaters. So, you can kind of say that Chelsea Cain has been she's been world building with this world of Weir girls. That doesn't sound right. WERE, Weir, like werewolf, but where girls? See, just saying it out loud, if you're not familiar with the comic, that probably makes no sense. But anyway, it's girls that can turn into kind of man-eating cats, and maybe. So jumping right in, the comic again, they've done this several times. They've got this kind of estrogen, estro-free water, and estro yum vitamin gummies for boys, and there's a kind of choking hazard. So there's a lot of this kind of fake ad, fake story here, and Estro Corp is pumping out a lot of products into this world that are supposed to keep the boys free from the Weir girls. I promise I'm not casting shade on the concept. I'm not sure how to pronounce this. But I'm a dumb guy. What do I know? So anyway, it's about the patriarchy certainly being in control. So the issue opens up with the girl-shaped Zeppelins, and they are floating around the world. They're Zeppelins like girls, and they have they're rescuing girls who have been sent to these. For lack of a better expression, they're kind of re-education facilities, I guess, is a good way to put it. So these are places where girls go to get kind of contained so they don't turn all feisty and mean and turn into angry leopard creatures. And the girls escaped by faking. They used American Girl doll technology and ketchup to pretend that their tampons were leaking. So there's a lot of pictures of girls, climbing onto these Zeppelins, and they're having a good time in kind of, pink and red and orange and green jogging suits. And then they go, and we get a lot of corgis. So Chelsea Kane really likes corgis. So I don't know why, but this was a theme in Mockingbird, and now again in ManEaters, and undoubtedly would have been in Vision as well. I'd be curious, actually, the tragedy of the Vision series ending with Chelsea Kane is, where would the corgis have fit in? That's our question. So anyway, here is Maude, and she is the girl who's been kind of our hero of the book, so to speak. She's been the character we followed, and her parents went to see her on the bridge. She's been cuddling with the corgis and having a good time, and so she goes up, and there's what are these girl dirigibles floating around mean? The news is speculating on this. Anyway, so we get to some nice, again, in her best defense, I think Chelsea Kane is trying to build a world of, and putting some time into it. She's got these fake ads. She's got this dissection of the airship Spuffy, which is the girl dirigible. And you've got all these different rooms and things. There's a chocolate fountain in there. It's like the old X-Men Avengers Mountain, how they used to do that. Sure. But anyway, up on the bridge, there's been they're doing a couple. There's a fly that kind of buzzes in. It's a little bit like if you've seen the Fight Club comic. There's some of those elements that are coming in here as well. Anyway, the parents are up here, and the dad's thinking about beer, and then Maude scares the dad, and then she's thinking hooray, and then there's kind of an imagination, what if the girl dirigible blew up into Hollywood. But okay. And then there's a plot recap here of some stuff. So cat ear hats and panther. They're panthers. Panther girls? I'm not sure. Anyway, and then some more ads about this, and we get very much Hickman like some big kind of diagrams of ruminations. Ruminations are the clinics that kind of house and are supposed to rehabilitate, train these weir panther girls through their menstruation, which the menstruation kicks in, and then the panther comes out. So we get a little bit of sense of what Estro Corp is up to. It dawned on me that if you're coming into this with no idea of ManEaters, a comic, I've said a lot of things in this review that make absolutely no sense. Anyway, they've got a lot of different products, this Estro Corp, and so we kind of get a little bit of, they're ready. There's this operation. They're putting it into place, and they're going in, and they're going to get the. There's this we made the lion sleeps tonight. I never quite understood what that signals that something is happening. Anyway, so they kidnap the Ezra, who is the head of Estro Corp, and they're going to interrogate him to get to the bottom of this plot. Basically, they've been living in this world where the girls turn into crazy girl panthers, but something doesn't line up, so they capture this hipster guy, and he is for some reason the CEO of the largest corporation in the planet, but he's very, very hipster. He's got that hipster mustache down. Anyway, so they're going to be interrogated by Maude's dad, who's a detective, and he's dressed up like Miami Vice because that's cool, and he is there with Tampon Woman, and she's going to interrogate the guy with him, and Tampon Woman's like she's bad cop, and Maude's dad is good cop. And so they've got tax returns, and then they kind of come out that Estro Pop and Estro Corp is basically they're creating this demand for this product, whereas this CEO guy apparently is is killing people, or maybe anyway, he's been murdering people, I think, and or to protect this secret, and they've dosed him, and then he confesses that that they've been staging these murders to look like big cat attacks, so that then he can sell his products. I think that's kind of what's gone on in this plot. I do like the this line, you don't intimidate me. You're a tampon. How's the tampon even become a cop? That's a good line. I mean, there. I think if you're bought into this world and you're reading along, there's probably a good comedy thread, I guess, that is going on here. Otherwise, you'd have to be, if you're super high reading this, that's probably the other good plan for this whole thing. Anyway, so they reveal his plot. They go back to school. They say no to Estro Pop. The plot is revealed. Maybe the Weir Panthers were all a delusion, and the patriarchy, or maybe a metaphor for how the patriarchy are kind of keeping down the girls. And so that leads us to some international third grade feminist alliance classes, and Monday menstruation clubs, and corgi cuddling tryouts, team tryouts. And we got the return of the Ask Me About My Feminist Agenda, so that's cool. She's there, and then every now and then the girl Zeppelins kind of float over the schools and drop tampons and maxi pads, and that's what they do. So that's the issue. And so this is kind of the end of the series. There is one more comic coming out, but it's going to be just more fake ads, kind of more about the world of ManEaters. It seemed like the comic initially launched and it was going to be about this story for ManEaters, and then it kind of shifted and became more about the ads. I don't know. It seemed like at some point, and the creative team kind of lost interest in the comic part of it, in the story part of it, and gain more interest in making these kind of satirical ads and other things to kind of poke fun at estrogen and the patriarchy and those kinds of things. And then the issue 12 promises some good kind of tips for how to fight the patriarchy. So we'll get that. But anyway, this is the comic. It's being collected, I guess, in a trade, and again, the temptation, I think a lot of people they want to come in and they want to dunk on this and they want to really make fun of it. And I mean, I'm not sure exactly what was being done here. All I know is the comic the comic begins on the cover with a giant image tampon, and then in the credits we get Robert Kirkman, Eric Larson, Todd McFarlane, Mark Silvestri, Jim Valentino, and the other members of Image. They get to put their names on it. So cool. I'm not sure who reads this. I mean, I'm sure there are people who will and do, and I'm not saying that again to cast shade or anything. I'm really, this comic has puzzled me over the run of who exactly it's aimed for. And again, I'm patriarchal dude guy, so I just wouldn't get it. No, that's cool. I'm trying to get it, and of course I need to sell this, so it's got to sell to somebody. But I don't know. I know in this area there's plenty of very quote unquote radical feminists. I wouldn't call them radical, just feminists. They're women who are making it on their own at are either living single or in a lesbian relationship, or just in this area there's a lot of women who are far more rich and far more powerful than their husbands in a lot of cases, and so they're doing their part to upend the patriarchy, so to speak. And this comic, I don't know, there's a story here about this dude is wanting to sell his products and doing it at the expense of women, and it's another way to kind of control and keep women down by this kind of very weird Weir Panther plot. But anyway, I'm just a little, there's a lot of things going on, and I'm not sure who it's for. Anyway, this is as fair as gets. I would like for people to point to this video. you know, the art has its moments. Again, it seems to wander into being very detailed and then also not. You can't argue that Chelsea Kane isn't bringing some new ideas to the table. I mean, we get the debut of Tampon Woman, and then we also we have a lot of corgi stuff. What is it with the corgis? I don't know. Hey, did you read this comic? What did you think? Who buys this comic? I'm just curious. Were the ads? The ads seemed to really they did seem to excite some people. Who were those people? But there you go. That's the review of ManEaters. That is in a nutshell. I mean, it's the 11th issue, but really this has been the series. So yeah, there you go. One more to go, and then we'll be collecting some trade paperbacks for some folks. So cool. Hey, if you enjoyed this review, there are others of other comics that you might enjoy more. I'm gonna go ahead and say you probably enjoy those comics more. Hey, like, subscribe, click the bell for notification, share this. This was a weird review to get through and do. So cheers to you. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for listening.